I invite you to get things out of your lap and get those feet firmly planted on the floor so we're grounded and centered in this beingness. We begin closing our eyes if we're comfortable and taking some deep breaths in and letting go, becoming fully present in this now moment, allowing our body to be still and our mind to quiet. Breathing in and breathing out that beautiful breath of God. We feel our shoulders relaxing. We just let the chair support us as we continue focusing on the breath. Going in and out, I invite you to see it going in and out of your heart space. Now I'd like you to bring into conscious thought a deep desire that you hold in your heart, something that you have maybe carried with you for some time, that you would like to see come to fruition in your life. So bring that idea, that desire, as we begin to create an intention to see that desire become fully present in our lives. We begin doing this by making this desire as palpable, as real. Using the power of our imagination, we create it in the present moment. We see it already manifested. We believe it and we claim it and we know it's ours and we feel it. We feel how good it feels to have this desire met, to have this intention fully expressed in our lives. We see it, we smell it, we taste it, we feel what it feels like to have it right here and right now in this present moment. And our hearts are filled with gratitude for the knowing that this is the truth of us. This is the creative process of us, the desire of our heart, the divine ideas that come to us once we set an intention, and then allowing that to express right into our lives. So I invite you to make it as real as possible in a few moments of silence, right here and right now. You see, nothing can stop you from your good but yourself. The universe, God in you, intends for you to have all the good you desire. The universe has your back and is here to support you in the knowing that you are a powerful manifester when you put your focus on that which you desire. And you believe it, and you claim it, and you see it, and you already know it's yours. And so as Jesus taught us, then you pray a prayer of thanksgiving that it's already so. And then you get out of the way and you allow it to come to you easier than if you had tried to force your personal will to make something happen. And so in that allowing, we let go of the outcome and it becomes easy. And so with hearts filled with gratitude, we say thank you, indwelling Spirit, for the nudge, for the ideas, for the releasing and allowing. And for this, we are so grateful. And now we bring our focus back into the room. And whenever you're ready, just open your beautiful eyes. So I guess you can tell we're talking about the law of intention and desire. That's what the meditation was all about, which you can do anytime, any place, right? Except driving your car. Don't ever try that. I was reading, I had already told you that I've been reading Joy is My Compass by Alan Cohen. And there's a story in there that he tells about this chiropractor. Now, we have a couple of chiropractors in here. It's not them. There's a chiropractor in New York City. And this gentleman walked in right off the street into the clinic, and the chiropractor kind of took a look at him. He looked like he'd been living on the streets for a while. He was kind of disheveled, and he didn't smell too great. He didn't look too great. He looked, like he'd really been through it. And he asked, could he have free service, free care? Could the chiropractor see him? And he, at first he was like, I don't know, I'm not sure about this. And then he had this remembrance of a Native American person who told him, if you want to be a real healer, you have to honestly find something that you like about this person that is before you. And so he's like, the guy asked, and so the chiropractor's kind of looking at him like, okay, all right, there's going to be something here I'm going to have a feeling about. And he looked down and he saw how perfectly tied his shoelaces were. And he was like, oh, I like those shoelaces. I'm a neat person. I like my shoelaces that way. And all of a sudden, he had an opening in his heart. Something opened up in his heart. And he just kind of like melted. This is what Alan says. He had broken through his sense of separation and opened a crack in the door of healing. A feeling of peace began to flow through his body, and he willingly treated this man. And the man thanked him before leaving the office. And so about a week later, the guy shows up again. Only he doesn't look that way. He's all cleaned up. And he said, I just wanted to thank you, Doc, because you saved my life. And the doctor said, I didn't realize that you had a life-threatening illness. He said, you don't understand. I was at the end of my rope. I had come from the George Washington Bridge. I was about to jump and take my life. And then I had this thought, maybe one person could be kind to me. And your office was the first thing I saw. So I just walked in and took a chance, and you were kind to me. And you treated me because I had nothing. So I'm here to thank you. He shook the doctor's hand and he left. Well, needless to say, it was a lesson that changed the doctor's career and his life. You see, we all make a difference. This month, we're looking at the law, we're looking at the focus for November, which is comfort. So let's say this affirmation together. My heart is comforted, my faith is deepened. I feel like it's a good idea that we're focusing on comfort in the the month of November because, comfort is defined as a state of physical ease from pain or distress. And we are all looking for comfort, aren't we? We're wanting to feel that. And to me, that opening story from Alan Cohen's book is an example of how heartfelt we have a desire to help other people, right? It's sort of innate in us that we want to be a help to other people. And the man's intention to live, because he told the doctor, I was on the cusp there of living and dying, and you helped me through that. So in the 100 Years of Daily Word, I found one for today that I think you're going to really like. It's from November the 2nd, 1948. Okay, 1948 was the year my parents got married. They were married for 66 years. This is what it says. Today, the people of America are electing a president. We believe that everyone in every nation is interested in this election, and we ask for the prayers of all of our friends that the people of America may make a wise choice. Let us who vote today pray for guidance and know that our vote carries a blessing. God in his divine wisdom helps us to make right decisions and to judge righteous judgment. Because of the great need for order, peace, and harmony among men and nations, we pray earnestly and sincerely each day, as do countless numbers of people the world over, that order may be established in our country and in every country. We pray that the leaders of all nations may be unified in thought, purpose, and understanding for the good of all humanity. God is omnipotent and omnipresent, and there is nothing to fear about the future of the world. As we seek God's guidance today, we know that there is nothing to fear as regards to the outcome of this election. Now, here we are 76 years later. Could those words not apply to our Tuesday? Right? So I take comfort in this, in the remembrance of the omnipresence of God in all things. I thought you guys would get a kick out of that from November the 2nd, 1948. So we are moving into the 5th week of our 7-week series on the 7 spiritual laws of success. We have done pure potentiality, giving and receiving, cause and effect. The law of least effort was last week, and today is intention and desire. And so Deepak opens that chapter by saying that energy and information are everywhere present. He's saying that at the level of the quantum field, there is nothing other than energy and information. In fact, he says, the quantum field is just another label for the field of pure potentiality, pure consciousness. Now, our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, he has another way to describe that. He always called it the ethers. Everything's in the ethers. Everything out here is ready for us to create, to bring something forth, right? Everything's pure consciousness. We're living in the mind of God, right? There is only one mind, one heart, one God. Charles would say the spiritual substance in which we live, move, and have our being, and out of which can be made whatever we desire. See, there's the key word. What is it in your heart that you truly want to be creating? Because we're always creating. Either consciously or unconsciously, we are creating. So you can be aware of it and create what you want, or you can just let life happen to you, which is how we know a lot of people do that, don't they? They just they're victims of their circumstances. That's how they feel in their lives. So because of that, I had to go to the Revealing Word and look up what Fillmore said about desire. And I love this. Listen to his words. An expression of the inmost being of man. Okay. And woman. He's from the 1800s, right? The onward impulse of an ever-evolving man. It springs from deep within being and has enduring power. Deep desire is essential to spiritual growth. You see, that's why you're all here. That's why you're in the small groups. That's why you're in the book study. You have a deep desire for spiritual growth. This intense desire draws us into the power to appreciate and to receive real spiritual blessings. But it has to come from your desire, doesn't it? So Deepak says that this whole chapter is about how the whole universe is nothing but movement of energy and information. And we experience this field through our thoughts, through our emotions, through our desires, through our memories, our drives, what drives you, and your beliefs. That's how we experience this energy and information. But you have to understand, we're not separate from the larger quantum field because we are basically made of star stuff. You know this, right? We're made of the same things, right? So there's never any separation. But we're different because we have this amazing nervous system that is sensitive to all of this. Our nervous system basically allows us to change the informational content in our physical bodies, which allows us to cause things to manifest. It's because we're so powerful, because we're always co-creating with God in us, as us, and through us. So basically, this is what we teach in Principle 3 of Unity. God is, I am, I think. So what we're thinking about, what we're focusing on, what we have intentions for, what we have desires for, that is what we're creating, right? Deepak tells us, whatever you put your attention on, it will grow. Is that not Principle 3? Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. What you give your energy to is what you're going to get more of. So if you're sitting there fretting about anything that is upcoming this Tuesday, you are wasting your energy and not helping us a dadgum bit. Do you see that? Where you put your focus. That's why I brought the prayer for you to take home today. To breathe that in, to claim who you are. We are able to bring about change because attention energizes and intention transforms. You get that? We see the expression of this infinite organizing power that is in every single blade of grass. In everything that you see, we call it divine life. But it's simply, at a quantum level, it's just energy and information everywhere present, right? The quality of intention on the subject, on the object of attention, the quality of intention on the object of attention, whatever you're giving it to, will cause an infinity of space, time, events to bring about the outcome that you're intending, provided you follow all of these laws of success that we have been studying, for this is our 5th week now. You see, intention is the real power behind our desire, because we're thinking about what it is that we want, right? We're speaking it to the universe through the power of our throat chakra, the power center of us. We're speaking it forward. into the universe, asking the universe for what it is that we desire. So as long as your attention is in the present, then your intent for the future will manifest. It has to, because you are what? 100% divine. 100% divine. Because the future is only created in the present. You have to be present, know what it is that you want, and create it from here. So we have to remember how powerful we are when we set an intention, when we say our prayers, when we speak them out loud. So when I was preparing this lesson about intention and desire and thinking about principle 3, I automatically went to Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now, he spent a lot of time in my previous church, and we got so much good information from him. Well, so I went to his book, You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter, is the book that I wanted to go to. I've brought this to your attention before, but there's a lot of new people, so I'm going to share it again. In it, this is what he says. When you're truly focused on an intention for some future outcome, if you can make inner thought more real than the outer environment during the process, your brain won't know the difference. It will think you're already there. Then your body, as the unconscious mind, will begin to experience the new future event in the present moment. That's how powerful that you are. You'll signal new genes in new ways to prepare you for the imagined event. That's what I was trying to do this morning in the meditation. Help you to make it as real, your desire, and set your intention, make it as real as possible. So in that book, in that same chapter, Joe Dispenza is talking about this major in the Vietnam War that became a prisoner of war. And you know, it was a terrible, terrible conditions that he was in. So you know what he did? He used his mind. He saw the golf course back home in his mind. He used the power of his imagination, and he over and over and over saw himself playing that perfect game. And guess what? When he was released and he was sent home, he had the perfect game on that golf course. Because he'd already seen it, he'd already lived it, he'd already created it, he intended it, he had a desire, and that's how he kept his sanity. He didn't let what was in the environment affect who he was. He knew who he was. He was just keeping his mind occupied on something that he desires, something that he loves, right? I love that story. Anything is possible when you set an intention and focus on it with a sincere desire in your heart. So our attitudes and beliefs affect our perception and therefore our focus. Our beliefs aren't always as conscious as we think they are. Sometimes there's things that we don't even realize that are affecting our decision. So here's a good example. So you go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis, and they give you the treatment, they give you the symptoms, the treatment plan, blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, you're taking that all in, and you're thinking, well, I've had some symptoms, I've gone, and this is what I've experienced. So this is probably what I'm supposed to do, without really any analysis of it. We're just taking that for the word of the person, right? What the doctor said. So we surrender the treatment without any real thought about it. But here's the thing. Not everyone believes everything that is said to them by anyone, even in the medical profession. And so there are people that get well, irregardless of the diagnosis. and didn't accept the finality of their prognosis or treatment, nor did they surrender to the diagnosis, because guess what? They had a different attitude, because they had a different state of being. They were not in that place of victimhood, right? They know who they are. They didn't condition their bodies for a worst case scenario because they had a different intention. They didn't see themselves as victims. They knew that they were the presence and the power of God in this moment, and that God is in all things, and that everything has to come for good for us. So we have someone in our congregation that has had the perfect example of this story. So I'm going to ask Joan to come up and tell you a little bit about her experience. Yay, Joan! See if that microphone's good. Okay.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. And what you were saying is just so. I didn't accept the diagnosis. I didn't accept the finality. I did it first. And then I thought, wait a minute. Let's revisit this. Let me think. And I said, you know what? This is my responsibility. This is my responsibility to decide, to act, to figure out. So I said, what do I want? Well, I want to live. That's number one. And number two, I want to get well as the way to do that. And that was not what was happening in my experience with treatment. So what I said is, this is my responsibility. I was sitting at home in my dining table, and it was like late afternoon, and the rays were on the table, and I was sitting there thinking, and I thought, this is up to you. And I thought about that for a minute, going, okay, how do I do this? And what I did was I said, what do I have to do? What is it that needs done? And so I proceeded along that vein. At that time, I was in hospice, and I said, well, we're getting out of here. So I left. I didn't leave, they left. And I said, I'm not doing this. And so I started, and what I did was I had been in treatment up in Sarasota, where they told me all the wonderfully bad news. And I said, please send my chart down to the cancer center here. And then I went over there to make sure they got the chart and whether I was going to be accepted or not, which I was. So then I started, and I met with the oncologist and started treatment. Now, and because in hospice, there's no, if you have cancer, there's no treatment that you have. That's not what happens. And so I cleared that out and got back to what I needed to do. And I wanted to know, I wanted to live. And I said, I've got to find, the intent is, how am I going to do this? So what I did do was I started, what I wanted to do was to heal. So I moved forward to find those statements, I found in I didn't even have to go get new books. I already had them that had within them the healing and how to go about it. And so I didn't even have to have, so I started reading. So I found for me that my meditation, which I'm not really, my meditation became the guides I was using to heal, most of the books, and they were all from here, from what we're doing, most of the books were about, there is a section, if we don't notice it, if that's not where we're at, but there are much written in the books about how to heal, what to do, how to go about it. My determination was that, no, I intended to get well, and I intended to live. So I found that my meditation really became reading those articles, reading those statements, and saying, which is a guide to what you can do to heal. And I found for myself that my prayer actually became the actions and decisions that I was making. And I was choosing to do that. And so, and I was using that to heal my body and mind, and I didn't have any kind of relationship with my body. I wasn't talking to it or encouraging or anything, so I had things to do. So the first thing I did was I really had to change my diet, because I didn't have a diet. And it really was important to find, it was very easy. It's fruits and vegetables and healthy food, and not eating things that are full of sugar and everything else. So I did that. And I started to get better. And I started hearing people say, you know, you look better. And I thought, ooh, okay. I looked and I thought, I don't know if I look better. I looked in the mirror, but I was getting better. I went from using a walker to walking. I kept up with my treatments, which are hemodialysis, which is wonderful and is working. And I talked to my body about the cells that needed to leave, that they were not okay. And I began to have a relationship with my body. And I also began to realize that I had some changes to make in my mind. And I was perfectly willing to make those changes. What did I have to lose? So I did that. And I found positivity, belief, intention. The intention was everything. I intended, when I was that day at the table, I decided that I would make the decisions. So, they had given you a lot of medicine, which I didn't like. So I just said, listen, I'm not taking this medicine, and the second thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to be here. This is the end. I'm going to have treatment. And I went out and got treatment, which I have been in here since September, beginning of September. And what is happening is a great difference in my life. And just meditation, looking for the guides to healing and thinking about those and thinking what they're having say. One question, and one of them was, do you want to live? I thought that'd be good. Yes, I want to live. And I said, you know, I really do want to live. I really do want to get better. And I am going to do it. And so I have been doing it. And I can tell you that it works. I can also tell you that divine order will be all around you. I was never thought of that at all. And in wonderful ways, it just kept happening. I'll give you a little example and I'll hush up. But I had gone to the doctor. I had an error, and when I was in Sarasota for treatment, there was a mistake in the oncology that caused me to lose my appetite and unable to have an appetite or eat. So I'd gone over to my person for my medicine for my high blood pressure, but they weren't working. And I also happened to mention to him that I was having a terrible time. I'd lost a lot of weight and I was having a terrible time. He said, well, let me tell you something. This was he said, forget about all that stuff about food. Go think about what you want to eat, what you will eat, and eat it. So I had 3 weeks of fast food you would never believe. I said, good for you. And you know what? I had my appetite back. I feel that was divine order.
Yes.
You know, that my appetite came back. I did not have any further signs about eating. And I had lost weight from 140 down to 118. Well, it came back up again to where it was, and it stayed there.
Thank you, Joni. Oh my
You're
gosh.
welcome. Pardon?
It's just amazing what you have been through and how she was like so skinny as a rail. And now look at you. You're just a miracle.
We're running out of time.
Yeah, I know where it's going.
She did want to say thank you, though. I know she wanted to say thank you because a lot of people on
I
Vivian's
asked.
team did a
Yes,
lot of things
yes.
for her when she was sick.
And I asked when Donna was asking me if I'd be able to speak. I said I was wanting to talk to you because I want to thank every single one of you. The cards, the prayers. You can feel prayers. I had that experience where you could actually feel the prayers that were coming my way. You can feel that. And that is, thank you so much. I have such great gratitude. Your kindness, you're visiting to me, you're coming over, you're helping me when I was really didn't have the energy to help. You came to the hospital.
Thank you so much.
You are an example for all of us, Joni. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh my goodness. Alan Cohen says in his book, Joy is My Compass, the power of the mind is the key to all success. In any given moment, we can change our life by seeing from a higher perspective. We need to believe in ourselves enough to match God's vision of who we are. That's what it's all about. So Deepak ends the chapter saying there's 3 things we need to do if we want to live this law of intention and desire. One is to make a list of everything you desire and carry it around with you everywhere, right? Number 2 is release any outcome, surrender it, basically know that it's going to happen. You don't have to know the how. And the third thing is remind yourself to practice the present moment awareness, because you will let obstacles get in your way if you don't. And you don't want to let any focus change. You want to keep your focus on your intention. This way, he says, you will manifest the future through your deepest, most cherished intentions and desires. Okay, so it's time for a joke. So this was heard on a Southwest Airlines flight. There was a kind of a bad, bumpy landing. And the flight attendant came over the intercom and said, okay, I know that was a little bit of a bump, and I know what you all are thinking, she said, but I'm here to tell you that it was not the airline's fault that it happened. It was not the pilot's fault. It wasn't the flight attendant's fault either. It was the asphalt. Okay. I have one little last thing. I know we're running behind overtime, but it'll just be more time for eating and enjoying each other. Our closing. On waking, this is a poem. In the vast land that exists between dream and waking, there is no I and no other than I. There are no borders, no citizens, no factions, no right side, no wrong side, a realm of pure openness where I am not aligned with any feelings or beliefs, where I am wholly breath and being. How would it be to bring such openness to the day? To fly across the lines of I and not I, the way a bird flies between countries, across state lines, across fence lines, to know the self as seamless, undivided, even as it pours the coffee, even as it drives past the yard signs, and even as it watches the news. That was written by Rosemary Traumer. So that's it for today. Thank you. God bless. Thank you for your patience. Now's the time in our service when we get to give from our good into this beautiful spiritual community. I invite you to take your gifts in your hand, or if you have given through PayPal or Breeze or sent your money in some other way, we're very, very grateful. So we bless it now with this statement. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, that this is so.